Okay, so in this second video I'm going to show you how I made the big synth hooks that we have in the pack. This hook here is from the Hustle Drop, which is included. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to grab some synths and I'm going to layer them up to create a big stacked sound. What we're looking for here is sounds that are complementary. So we don't want to just have 5 sawtooth lead sounds because it's just going to sound messy and they're not going to cover different frequencies, which is what we're looking for. So I think I'm going to go for a piano to start with. Let me set my tempo to 28. Okay, that'll do. I think I need to have this an octave higher though, it sounds a bit low. That sounded quite nice. Often it's good to use different plugins when you do this as well, because all the plugins have their own different sound, and when you're layering it, it can help to get kind of different flavors from the different plugins. I'm going to look for maybe like a plucky style sound here. I quite like that because I'm getting quite nice low frequencies from that one. I'm going to turn all these down because I'm already peaking the master and we don't want that. I've given myself plenty of headroom. Turn up a little bit. Okay, I'm going to EQ as I go along. So from the piano I don't really need any of the very low frequencies. And from this pluck, I could maybe get away with rolling off some of the high frequencies to leave them for some of the sounds further down the line. Okay, so I'm going to place a silence in here. Now I've got a patch I've already created, which is good for layering on these kinds of sounds. Okay, I'm gonna go for another spire patch, I think. Important to play with the envelopes as well to get exactly the kind of response I'm looking for from the sound. I'm also going to take the reverb off that one and the delay as well. We're going to go on to reverb and delay a little bit later on. Okay, I'm happy with that as my basic stack. So I'm going to just copy these EQs across so I don't get any very low frequencies coming through from these three. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to look at applying the reverb myself to the sounds. So I'm just going to go through and strip away reverb and delay on each of my layers. unless the sound really relies on it. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to create my own stereo field for this hook. So for this silence patch, I'm going to route it to 2 buses, and I'm going to make them both mono. I'm then going to pan one hard left, one hard right, and I'm going to place 2 reverbs. What I'm going to try and achieve with this is create a wide stereo field by creating differences in the left and the right hand channel. I'm going to use my pre-delay from the last example so that I get a bit of separation between the sound and its reverb. And then I'm going to do this just like so. I'm not going to spend too long on doing this. So anything which is different in the 2 channels will then convey a stereo width for us. If I put a meter on in Logic, you can see that's now very, very wide. I could even apply an imaging stereo spread just to that sound. Might apply the same to this sound. Now some of my other sounds I could actually keep quite mono, because if everything's stereo then nothing's really stereo, because there's no contrast between what's wide and what's more narrow. So let me narrow my stereo image on this piano sound. That'd be 100% mono. And that would be the sound as it comes. So just make it maybe half its normal width. I could even try sending this to another reverb. I'm just going to copy this one across and making this mono. So this is nice and centered, whereas these sounds here are nice and wide. My low frequency sound, I could even make 100% mono. Now, I don't know if you can hear, but I'm getting a frequency which is quite irritating coming from the piano, which can quite often happen with pianos. That's cleaned it up a little bit. Now what I'm going to do is group these sounds together. I could apply some gentle compression. I want them to sound really like a stack, like they're kind of unified. So and maybe a little bit of EQ as well. I'm going to use the linear phase EQ because it's quite a complex sound and it can mean that I get less phase distortion with linear phase. So now I get a nice hook sound which has got a nice big wide stereo image but also has a nice center to it as well. So I did that very quickly. Normally I'd take a lot longer to make sure the sounds complement each other very well. But you get the picture, and those are the techniques I use to create the big hook sounds you can hear in the pack. I hope you found that useful. Thanks for watching.